The phone rang, and their world tilted. A parent's worst nightmare. Nicholas Barkley, just a boy, was gone. The family searched, hope dwindling with each passing day. Their son, their brother, vanished. The not knowing was its own torture. Then a miracle. A call, a voice, their Nicholas, alive. Relief washed over them, chased by a joy so profound it hurt. Their boy was coming home, a family reunited, or so they thought. But this was no heartwarming reunion. This was the beginning of a nightmare far more sinister than their darkest fears. The betrayal cut deeper than the disappearance. To discover their beloved Nicholas was an imposter, a fraud, a phantom. The joy they'd felt twisted into a bitter mockery. Their story, once a beacon of hope, became a chilling reminder of the darkness lurking in the world. Their son was still gone, and now they had to face a horrifying truth. Someone had invaded their lives, their home, their hearts, wearing the face of the boy they loved. The real nightmare was just beginning. Nicholas Barkley was a normal kid. He loved to play outside. He had a mischievous grin. He was the apple of his mother's eye. But beneath the surface, darkness lurked. Nicholas was troubled. He acted out. He disappeared for days. Then at 14, he vanished for good. Gone without a trace. His family was devastated. They plastered his picture everywhere. They knocked on doors. They prayed for a sign. Weeks turned into months, hope fading with each passing day. The police investigation stalled. Leads ran dry. The family was left clinging to the slimmest threads of possibility. They refused to give up. They held on to the belief that Nicholas was out there somewhere, alive, waiting to be found. Little did they know, a different kind of hope was about to emerge. A cruel and twisted hope that would shatter their world once more. Years went by, 5 agonizing years. Then the phone rang. It was Nicholas. He claimed he'd been kidnapped, taken to Europe. He'd escaped, he said. He was in Spain. He wanted to come home. His mother, desperate for good news, clung to his every word. Her relief was palpable. She wired him money. She made arrangements for his return. Finally, they would be a family again. He arrived at the airport, a young man now. He embraced his mother, a tearful reunion. But something wasn't right. His eyes were different. His mannerisms were strange. He had a European accent. Doubts crept in. Could this really be their Nicholas? Had he changed so much? Or was something more sinister at play? The family, blinded by their desperate hope, brushed aside their concerns. They wanted to believe, but the truth, as it often does, had a way of revealing itself. Section 4. A growing unease. Cracks in the facade. Life with Nicholas was strained. He was withdrawn, moody. He bore little resemblance to the boy they remembered. He claimed amnesia, couldn't remember his childhood. His stories were inconsistent, full of holes. He refused to see a doctor. He shied away from family photos. He seemed uncomfortable in his own skin. The family was starting to unravel. Their suspicions, once whispers, became shouts they could no longer ignore. One day, a private investigator contacted the family. He'd been hired by a TV show. They were doing a story on missing children. The investigator showed them a photo. "Does this look like your son?" he asked. The family gasped. It was him, the man posing as Nicholas. But it wasn't their son. It was someone else entirely. Their worst fears were confirmed. They had welcomed a stranger into their home. But who was this imposter, and what did he want? Section 5. Unmasking the Imposter, Frédéric Bourdin's Deception. The man who fooled the Barkley family was Frédéric Bourdin, a French con artist. He was a master of deception, a chameleon who could morph into anyone he wanted. He targeted families with missing children, exploiting their desperation. He was a predator, preying on the vulnerable. His motives were complex. He was arrested, charged with fraud and impersonation. But for the Barkley family, the ordeal was far from over. Section 6. The wounds that remain. Trust and identity. The Barkley family was left reeling. Their story became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragility of trust and the dark side of human nature. They had opened their hearts and home to a stranger, only to be betrayed in the most profound way. The emotional scars ran deep. How could they ever trust again? How could they move on from such a devastating experience? Their story forced us to confront uncomfortable truths about identity, deception, and the lengths to which people will go to fill the voids in their lives. The Barkley family's nightmare serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope and resilience can emerge. Their story is a testament to the enduring strength of family and the power of forgiveness. And it leaves us with a haunting question: could we ever truly know what lurks beneath the surface, behind the masks people wear?